For centuries, knowledge has been hidden in plain sight across the sands of time. Whispers of lost civilizations, cryptic symbols, and forbidden histories have been erased or concealed. What if the truth was never lost, but hidden? Welcome to Eye of Ancient Mysteries, where the past speaks and the future listens. Sit back, open your mind, and prepare to uncover the untold secrets of our world. Let the journey begin now. Time travel: how a Swiss watch ended up in a Ming Dynasty sarcophagus. In 2008, unusual sarcophagi were discovered in China, perfectly preserved despite having lain in the ground for at least 600 years. Time travel is possible, and there is evidence for it. At least, that is what some conspiracy theorists believe. For several years, they have been haunted by one discovery: a ring with a watch. This piece of jewelry was found in a place where a priori it could not have been. In 2008, unusual sarcophagi were unearthed in China. They were perfectly preserved, despite the fact that they had lain in the ground for at least 600 years. The coffins had been protected by a special mixture of sand, eggs, and limestone, which completely covered them. When archaeologists carefully removed the upper layer, the very same ring with a watch appeared. How did a modern-day fashion accessory end up in the hands of Chinese nobles from the Middle Ages? The mystery of out-of-place artifacts. Time paradox or misinterpretation. What do the Iron Pillar of Delhi, the Aztec crystal skull in the British Museum, and the wooden bird figurine from the Egyptian village of Saqqara have in common? All of these items are real time paradoxes. They contradict the scientific understanding of the development of ancient technologies. A special concept has even been coined for such items: out-of-place artifacts. In pseudoscience, out-of-place artifacts are used as material evidence for various theories. Scientists who believe in an alternative course of history present supposed evidence that everything actually happened differently, calling into question the course of human history. However, all studied artifacts have turned out either to be forgeries or to have been misinterpreted. In other words, scientists saw something in them that was not really there, mistaking wishful thinking for reality. From time to time, the press still reports on archaeological finds that can only be described as out of place. One such artifact is the ring with a watch. In 2008, this photograph, without exaggeration, went around all the world's media. The accompanying text stated that during the filming of a documentary about the exploration of ancient Chinese tombs in Guangxi province, scientists and journalists discovered a miniature watch. Moreover, the researchers were certain that the tomb had not been opened for 400 years and belonged to the Ming Dynasty. But how could this be possible? After all, such miniature watches only began to be produced in the 18th century, and the most surprising thing was not even that. As the media reported, researchers were genuinely shocked by one inscription. Journalists wrote that on the inside of the watch there was an engraving, Swiss, indicating the country of manufacture Switzerland. And here questions arose. How could modern watches made in Switzerland end up in an ancient Chinese tomb dating back to the Ming Dynasty, 1468–1644? After all, Switzerland itself officially came into being in 1848. Conspiracy theorists immediately began talking about the watch from the Chinese tomb as proof of the possibility of time travel. Skeptics, on the other hand, set about investigating the source of the information about this incredible find. It turned out that almost all media outlets cited a French website as the main source, one that mostly published amusing news from around the world. But had the journalists simply invented the sensation about the mysterious watch? Where did the miniature watch in the ancient tomb come from? The fact that footage from this documentary, during which the watch was supposedly discovered, was, for some reason, never circulated online, also raised suspicion. In reality, all publications reprinted the same photographs, several close-up shots of the watch, from which it was not even clear whether it was a functional timepiece with gears or simply some kind of decorative object. However, the story about the discovery of the Ming Dynasty sarcophagi turned out to be true. Chinese journalists wrote that in Guangxi province, in the south of the country, 2 coffins covered with a fossilized layer of soil had been accidentally uncovered during construction work. Chinese experts conducted an examination and established that the tomb belonged to nobles who had lived in the mid-Ming Dynasty. One coffin was larger, the other smaller, and they concluded that the tomb belonged to some noble couple. Now, let us follow some other stories. Time travel. These people claim they've done it. Time travel is a topic explored in hundreds of literary works and science fiction films. Whether such journeys will ever become reality is the subject of heated debate and countless theories. While scientists remain divided on whether it is possible at all, some people claim they have visited not only the past and the future, but even parallel universes. The evidence they present is highly questionable, yet their stories enjoy enviable popularity. Here are 5 of them. John Titor, on November 2, 2000. A man calling himself John Titor posted a message on an internet forum claiming to be a time traveler from the year 2036. According to him, he had visited 1975 to acquire an IBM 5100 computer and had stopped by in 2000 for personal reasons. To prove he was telling the truth, he showed photos of his time machine. Titor claimed that in 2004 a civil war would break out in the United States, escalating into a conflict with Russia, in which nuclear weapons would be used, killing millions. He also predicted that the 2004 Olympic Games would be canceled, and that in 2005 an outbreak of mad cow disease would occur. Titor even offered to take several people into the future with him, but that never happened, as he vanished without a trace in March 2001. What was the truth? Some believe that the name Titor hid 2 fraudsters, the brothers Larry and John Rick Haber. Others, however, allow for the possibility that Titor was real. They suggest he actually prevented the Civil War by warning the U.S. government of the coming danger. Titor himself noted that he had created an alternative version of our reality after traveling through time and altering the course of history. Michael Phillips. The story of this time traveler is no less intriguing. Phillips claimed he returned to 2018 to prevent the outbreak of World War III. According to him, it would have started after an attempt by North Korea to attack the United States with nuclear weapons, escalating into a global conflict involving multiple nations using atomic bombs. Phillips also made shocking revelations about the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks in the U.S., claiming that another time traveler, John Titor, was behind them. According to him, Titor's aim was to unite the American people and prevent the Civil War. Phillips further predicted that Donald Trump would win the 2020 presidential election, that in 2025 Elon Musk would create a spacecraft enabling people to travel to Mars, and that by 2032 humanity would have established its first colony on the Red Planet. William Taylor, most self-proclaimed time travelers, speak of upcoming apocalyptic events and conflicts. William Taylor's case is different. He claimed to be an employee of a secret British intelligence agency that regularly sent people into the future. Taylor said his first stop was the year 3000, where he saw humans no longer walking on the ground but moving exclusively in flying vehicles. Later, he traveled even farther into the future, to the year 8973. By that time, diseases no longer existed, wars and crimes were long forgotten, and humans were practically immortal. Taylor described them as tall, thin, and large-headed. Earth was also inhabited by many robots and androids. He claimed that people in the future considered time travel completely normal. He even met another traveler from the year 2055. According to Taylor, his time machine, which the British government would officially acknowledge in 2028, could also travel between parallel worlds. Bella from Albania. This Albanian woman's account of our future is more than grim. Bella claimed that about 800 years from now, humanity will be almost completely destroyed, with the few survivors enslaved by intelligent machines. She met one such robot, but refused to answer its questions. Bella also said that the process of time travel itself was very unpleasant. When she traveled to the future, a strong electric current passed through her body, and everything around her was engulfed in total darkness. To prove her journey, she took several photographs, whose authenticity is highly doubtful, showing ruins and a few futuristic-looking buildings. Andrew Basiago is a lawyer from Seattle who claimed not only to have traveled through time, but also to have visited Mars. According to him, in 1981 he was sent to the Red Planet along with future U.S. President Barack Obama as part of a project by the research branch of the U.S. military. DARPA, codenamed Pegasus. Project Pegasus is the subject of a particularly famous American conspiracy theory. Basiago also said that between 1968 and 1972, a time machine had been created, which he used to travel back to 1863 to hear a speech by then President Abraham Lincoln. He claimed to have visited the future as well, but never revealed what would happen to humanity in the coming decades. According to him, the U.S. Military regularly uses the time machine to send soldiers to different historical periods. Basiago also stated that he himself would become President of the United States by no later than 2028. Will his prediction come true? We will have to wait a few more years to find out.